Yo guys, what's going on? I'm Keegan. If you enjoyed this review, be sure to hit that subscribe button and leave your opinions down there in the comment section. YK Osiris, the Golden Child. YK Osiris is an American singer, songwriter from Florida, who's had a pretty eventful 2019, releasing his breakthrough single earlier this year, featured on the XXL list as one of the more underwhelming features in my opinion, and also coming out with this here debut album. There's been a lot on this guy's plate in the past 12 months. However, I haven't taken the time to fully delve into this guy's music aside from Worth It. So this is that time. Let's see if this album's worth it. Let's start with the singles, with there being 3 of them. The first one being Valentine, which was actually his first hit single ever. Released almost a full year before Worth It, and it shows. Osiris sounds a lot younger on this song than anything else on this album, so it's a bit of a weird transition on the album scale. Usually his nasally, sometimes grating delivery gets on my nerves, but this song is that exception. While I don't get much emotion out of Osiris' delivery, I do feel it in the lyrics, which in my opinion are just as powerful, especially on the chorus, where he sings with this flawless ability to ride on the beat about how he loves this girl, but is skeptical on whether or not she loves him as much, or even at all. I feel a lot of power from this song, mainly in vocals, with a very sultry synth melody in the back. So yeah, this track's a keeper. The second single, his breakthrough hit, Worth It, which is actually the closer, strangely enough. I didn't care for the song on first listen, mainly due to the chorus and just how scraping Osiris' vocals were. Coming back to it now for this album, I definitely have a bit more of an appreciation for it, and how well he can ride an instrumental, which I already praised on Valentine. I still don't really care for the chorus too much. I feel like he tries a little bit too much with his vowels, and it just becomes this wall of sound at times. But his verses are nice and show off his rap chops a little bit. Lyrically, it's simply about how he's gonna give his world to this girl. She doesn't have to be perfect, she just has to be worth it. While that guitar solo at the end is a pretty big surprise, it's not quite enough to tempt me into keeping this song around. It's fine and has definitely grown on me, but still not worth my time. And the third and final single, Ride with Kalani, shows Osiris' most engaging and emotional vocal performance yet. Possibly on this whole album, as a matter of fact. Again, I must commend his ability to be on the beat. It's quite impressive coming from the scene he's come out of lately. Kalani also gives a nice performance, and is a very good fit for Osiris, especially on this song with his performance being as good as it is. Lyrically, it's quite obvious, riding it, you know. Honestly, it may be one of the better songs here. I can get down with this one. Singles actually weren't that bad, so let's see how the rest of the album fares. Now for the rest of the songs. The opener is actually a remix of Worth It with Tory Lanez and Untitled, so I'll keep this one a bit shorter. Osiris hasn't changed throughout the song, and neither has the instrumental. Tory Lanez feels a bit too aggressive for this minimalistic beat. He does not sound comfortable here at all. However, Ty being a bit more of a melodic singer, he does blend in, and probably more so than Osiris, he just has this smooth tone that elegantly glides over this instrumental. Almost makes this song feel like it was made for him in a surreal way. Overall though, it's still a mixed bag for me. Shakira, which actually wasn't a single for this album, believe it or not, I really did not care for this song at all. It's pretty lifeless. It's one of Osiris' more rap-focused songs, and it's mainly on these songs that show his lyrical ineptitude, which is mainly about this girl who shakes it like Shakira. I like the alliteration, but is that only because her hips don't lie? I mean, could have done Nicki or Cardi. That would have made a bit more sense in my opinion. It's also about money and bragging, but I thought that was obvious at this point. The instrumental is pretty lavish and glossy, which doesn't really suit Osiris. He's a much better singer than a rapper, and I feel like this would be a track that Tory Lanez could actually shine on, in all honesty. I'm not feeling this one. This is a pass. Fake No Mo, ironically enough, feels very fake. The instrumental is very glossy and glitzy, and using an overly heavy skittering trap drum, and Osiris' flow is so generic and boring. His voice is trying to be Tory Lanez-esque, like, it really doesn't sound like Osiris at all. And if you told me this was a Tory Lanez song, I wouldn't be surprised. Lyrically, it's really just about how this girl was causing him problems, and now he realizes he can't be fake anymore, as that messes up his life. Not a bad concept for a song, but the execution is so monotonous. Probably one of the worst songs on here. Sexual shows Osiris trying to get his horny Chris Brown on, which only makes me feel extremely uncomfortable. Even in his voice, which I don't know why he's trying to put on all these different voices when he has a regularly good voice to begin with. The instrumental, as you'd expect, is a bit more of an R&B tinge, something Chris Brown himself I'm sure could do pretty well on. Lyrically, it's just so blunt, it's laughably bad. Like, I'm not gonna delve too deep into it, but it's basically about how he wants sex so bad. Also, the line, "I'm in love with you, baby, I ain't talking tennis," it's at the upper echelon of corniness and cheesiness. It's not even remotely cute or funny. Yeah, not good. Skip it. Mind Games with Russ dials things back a bit, featuring a bit more of a minimalistic instrumental, which is right on that fine line between R&B and rap. Osiris on auto-tune is not a good idea, and his performance on the first verse shows that. But aside from that, he shows his ability to keep a melody going and stay on rhythm. Russ seems to be the most engaging part of the song, which is good because he's actually dropped some bangers lately. He's got a varied flow and speaks pretty clearly. Lyrically, it's about chasing your dreams, building your own empire. Also, he mentions he's not in the mood. Finally, a song where he's not horny. Jokes aside, it's a good song. Definitely needed at this point. Change is a little bit of a mixed bag for me. For the positives, I do like the piano in the instrumental. It already makes the song feel a little bit more passionate than anything else on this album. And also, Osiris's melodies are top notch this time. He stays on the beat properly. Negatives are mainly due to his voice. It really starts to grind this time around after a few listens. He's really trying to force his notes almost to the point of a yell, not to mention adding this childish inflection to your voice. Which other songs where he does yell, he really doesn't have that. It just becomes a pain to listen to. Even though it's short, barely reaching 2 minutes 30, it's not my cup of tea. Decent song, just not as good as it could be. Make Love Lute is a short 28-second intro with a very gorgeous orchestral sound. And Osiris' vocals are also pretty lovely. It's a fitting intro for the incoming song. Just an interlude, nothing special. Make Love is the full manifestation of the interlude into song form. The instrumental here is very sultry, sounding like an R&B song from the early 2000s, and Osiris blends in really well with it. Unfortunately, his vocals don't quite know where to be. At one point they're normal, but at the other point they're overly deep and cut away from the overall vibe of the song, which is kind of disappointing as I could see this being a good bedroom song, weirdly enough. Which shows even down to its lyrics, which are really basic, just about making love. But Osiris' delivery is what properly sells this song, with a good amount of emotion. Not a bad song, I think I'm going to keep it around. Exotic is actually not a bad song on first listen. The flow on the chorus is very nice, and Osiris is very capable with said flow and melody as well. The verses have more of a rap flow with slight variations here and there. Unfortunately, this song has one of my least favorite pet peeves in it, where the title of the song is repeated so much that you begin to not recognize the word anymore, and I hate it when that happens. In fact, every time he says exotic, I cringe a little bit, and at times, it sounds identical to excited. Also, he tries to rhyme exotic with Ferrari. Like, okay. While it does have one of the better melodies, this gets on my nerves really quickly, so pass. Closer with VINCI takes a bit of a left turn in genre on this album, featuring a bit more of a reggaeton, breezy, tropical instrumental, as VINCI is a reggae singer. And he sounds right at home on this instrumental. Osiris, on the other hand, is content with just singing, and he's actually not that bad over this instrumental. His voice seems to blend in really well, not to mention him being excellent with melodies and staying on beat. Lyrically, it's just about wanting this girl to come over so they can be closer. Simple concept, lovely execution. This one's a standout and a keeper. Ballin initially had me worried because of the title, and I instantly assumed it was going to be a rap song. Then I heard London on the track was the producer, and I got a bit more worried. Thankfully, this song is easily, hands down, the best song on this album by a mile. Osiris' flow is very engaging, and London's producing is fantastic. He really knew how to meld with Osiris as a singer. The chorus is just such a feel-good chorus. The held notes are wonderfully done. I would like the song to be longer, but it's still one of my favorite songs from this album. And finally, Everything You Do completely disappoints me because why wasn't this song made a full song? It's not even a minute 30. And yet it contains some of the best vocals on this album, in my opinion. The pre-chorus is well sung and the chorus is wonderful. Even despite it being a simple yet very short song, I'm still keeping it around. Overall, the first half of this album was definitely shoddy and messy. Bunch of lavish production that didn't really meld well with Osiris' voice and charisma. Second half of this album was done right. Plenty more bangers, lovely production, more time and care was thrown into these songs. YK Osiris' career may not be plagued by this album, but this certainly won't be a remembered moment in the future, aside from maybe worth it. I'm feeling about a 5.5 out of 10 on this album. Well guys, hope you enjoyed that review. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.